Vossy, was it the clearances and contested possessions? Did you see that as that was pretty much the game? I think they were plus 18 in clearances and plus 13 in contested possessions, and that was more or less it.
Full stop.
Yeah, thanks very much.
They were just tougher than us, cleaner than us. I don't have a stat for necessary attempts for them to be able to sort of work out of tight scenarios. We're still able to, put some tackle heat on them, but the ability to be able to then get it to the outside quickly was pretty impressive across the night. So it was sort of forcing us to make some tactical adjustments that we wouldn't want to normally do if we could get away with it. But the reality is that they across the whole night they sustained it a hell of a lot better than what we were able to.
How bad is Cribbs's hamstring?
Still, these sorts of ones are a little bit of an assessment and wait and see. We think it's only minor, but I've had scenarios before where you say that and it turns out to be something else. So we'll just wait, find out, and do the assessment as needed, and then make some calls on what happens from there.
Do you feel like the first 3 weeks have been so you've been up physically and emotionally, and they've been 3 really big games? This was always going to be a danger game for you because the Suns are tough here at home. Did you feel like today was the boys were just a bit drained, whether it be physically or emotionally, after those first 3 weeks?
I don't really sort of look at games as danger games. I mean, there's sort of things that get spoken about outside of the 4 walls. Our approach doesn't change during the week. We give the same respect to every single opposition that we play against. You didn't have to read too far if you followed up on Gold Coast's result from last week to understand that they were going to bring a contested style of football. Dewey was pretty strong on that throughout the week. Felt like we'd prepped accordingly. It's been an area that's been extremely strong for us across pre-season and also the early games. So this is somewhat a bit of an outlier from what we've seen. If there's one thing we've been able to bank on in the early parts of the year has been we've been pretty sustainable at the contest, and our method might have fluctuated from time to time, but our contest hasn't, which has really put us in the fight in a lot of games that we've had and gives us a look and the wins that we've had in the end.
How much did the late change with the ruck sort of hurt you guys? I mean, obviously we saw Witsy had a real day out today. I mean, how much do you think that affected?
Partly one part of some of others. Certainly we'd like Pito out there. It was always a possibility throughout the week that Pito wouldn't get up, so we'd obviously provide the planning accordingly. Should that happen? Gave him first use, but the ball's one in the air and it's also one on the floor, and we just sort of lacked that proactiveness on the ground level, and when the ball was in a scramble, they were just far more effective, far more proactive, and we're willing to be able to fight through that a little bit more than what we were. So if the game gets dirty, we just have to make sure that we step up into that, and I feel like we've done that pretty well throughout the early parts of the games. But Gold Coast were particularly impressive in that part of the game, and they really challenged us.
Given Pito was sort of touch and go all week, you would expect him to probably be right for a game on Sunday?
We think so. We think that it'll be okay. And again, we'll sort of assess that when we get in there on Tuesday, and we can sort of have a look at this game and try and look at it and find out what worked and what didn't work. But mostly if we just come back to that ability to be able to win it and the shape around the ball, we just lost too many metres across the night. It put our backs under a lot of pressure. And as a result, it sort of challenged our efficiency coming out of there. And Gold Coast weren't just tough; they were also quite efficient, and they were able to obviously put the scoreboard pressure on us.
What about I guess there were a couple of moments of ill-discipline there at the start of the third that gave them a couple of goals. From a coach's point of view, it's probably disappointing. Was it perhaps a bit of frustration, do you think, rolling over?
Oh, no doubt. They're always, it's amazing when you're up against it and you're sort of trying to fight your way back into the game. It seems to be the team that's in that position that gives away the 50s. So our ability to be able to remain composed through those particular times is important. Again, if I look across, I don't want to be dismissive of what happened tonight. I mean, we've got the evidence, so we have to rectify it and really quickly. But we've been challenged in games throughout the early part of the season, and we responded really well. was responded with some really good method the way we wanted to play, and we've also been able to maintain our disciplines through those times when it's needed. So some of it was a bit different that turned up tonight than what we've seen.
Cripps is obviously one of the best players in the comp, so losing him is going to impact anyone. But what did you learn from your midfield once he left the field? There's stuff you can learn if he's potentially out for a couple of weeks.
Nothing really changes for us. Another man comes in, and we've had the capability in that group to be able to get it done. Walsh is missing there for a game or two, and the guys were able to do a great job there as well. So, while the captain is been in great form and he's a fantastic leader and he's obviously a contested beast, we can't dismiss that. But at the same time, that'd be letting others off the hook, I think. Cheers.
Well, one more. Also, we'd be encouraging your key forwards to maybe go back and kick drop punts and not necessarily take snaps. Like I know they're very good at them and they normally kick them, but is that something you might talk to them about, that maybe go back and kick a drop punt?
Oh, potentially, but these guys, I always say is whatever method you choose, as long as it's rehearsed and it's practiced and there's those guys in particular spend an enormous amount of time on their craft when it comes to goal kicking. It's quite incredible the amount of detail they put in it and the time that they spend on it. So they know their craft better than anyone. So while you ask the question, the reality is that if it's well rehearsed and they've been able to do that over a long period of time, well, they have to back that in. So it's clearly a method that they've chosen, and fair to say they need a little bit of a correction in terms of how efficient it actually is right now for them.
Do you like Harry's honesty on the touch off the boot in the second quarter?
Now you're testing my integrity now. Michael, I'm not sure on that one. I'll let that one go, but I'll let that one go.
Just on Harry, did he actually suffer a broken nose there?
I have no idea. I think he's okay.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
the report's been
played
okay.
all right, but-
Yeah, I think the medical reports he's okay. So just got assessed and come back on.